I've been in corporate America for the last 40 years. Portion of which during that tenure was I was into investments,
Okay.
and I was actually a stockbroker at one time. So I began to amass my fortune 40 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and have never since stopped. I knew that beyond the normal regimen of stocks, bonds, and alternative investments, we needed to have a counter block, and that was in real estate investment. Well, it's one thing I've learned is leverage can be a dangerous thing. So from my standpoint, when I went into purchasing the properties that I did back in '07, I paid cash from the banks, and they let them go for a song and a dance.
They
And
did.
my wife and I were very charged up with HGTV, and we would watch the channel, and I said, why can't I do that?
Right.
And we rented them immediately. We did that through a property management company, which TCT ended up acquiring.
Oh, okay.
So ever since then, I prefer to have all the contractual logistics and everything handled by a good property manager and someone who is experienced, and you guys fit the bill.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. So you've been in stocks and the limited
Still am.
partnerships. You
Still am.
Okay. But I'm going to use my words, but you said there's something more than that. You wanted the stability of real estate.
Absolutely. They say there's an old saying that I've heard for I don't know how many decades, and that is the number of millionaires that are made are either in the stock market or the real estate market.
That's right.
So I wanted to hedge both of my bets, and I'm in both. Yeah, and I've been very lucky that those properties that I bought in '07 had pretty much quadrupled.
Yes, they have. Yeah,
But more importantly, what I have embraced is that cash flow.
right.
And free cash flow is everything, because that enables me to invest in other mechanisms, including additional real estate.
Mhm.
And eventually, I did buy a small condo near ASU for my son. And he's getting ready to graduate in May. So we're going to be folding that into, eventually we're going to be folding that into the TCT family to manage. And it's been a great rental from that standpoint. So
Yeah, good for you.
yeah, been lucky.
Good for you. Well, we're managing 2 properties for you in the Coolidge area.
Correct.
And I went back and took a look, and in what we've been managing with 2018, I think, or something like that. Anyway, in the last few years, your cash flow has increased by $1,500 a month, over and
Yes.
above what it was when we started.
Absolutely. And
So,
believe me, my bank account enjoys it. But
good.
you guys not only have managed the properties, but you've got a good perspective on what the market's doing rental wise and purchase wise, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But rental wise, I don't know what the going rates are. I don't want to know what the going rates are. I want to know that I'm market competitive, and that I'm receiving them and maximizing my value on those rentals,
Right.
and the ROI on those rentals. And your people have done exceedingly well in helping me to manage that.
Well, I'm gonna pay a compliment to you, because there are people that'll watch this video that are not in the Phoenix area and have no clue to where Coolidge is. But Coolidge is on the very outskirts of the Valley of the Sun,
Yes.
and so given that their average price is lower than ours and they're on the outskirts, we have a huge number of applicants, but not all of them qualify to our standards. In fact, many of them don't qualify to our standards.
Correct.
And we've been patient enough to wait. So instead of renting a property in a day or two, or getting it rented in a week, it might take us 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
But we're finding qualified tenants for you that can pay the rent.
Absolutely. Coolidge and death and taxes are 2 things that are never going to leave us. So from a taxation standpoint, I want to try to minimize as many of the taxes as possible. What I have found is you guys do an excellent accounting record on a monthly basis of the statements, itemizing those items that are accrued for taxes, for rental, even fixes that attack the reserve account. And that's helped me to help post those in the proper areas within the tax preparation and the accountant that I use. So that's been very helpful. And taking those off of my taxes and taking that depreciation off of that rental investment is always helpful to reduce my tax liability.
That's great.
Sure. Yes, I would like to continue to roll in new properties. As I had indicated, I do intend to roll in another property in the not too distant future. But as well, what I found is, the fluctuations and the volatility in the markets have a tendency to be you're very susceptible. Yes, you can plan and try to time the market, but that's very difficult, the stock market. As my investments grow, I do carve off money and put it into a cash account and look for properties that I can capitalize on.
Or what information would you tell others that are looking, because people have different goals. I just talked to one of our clients, and his goal was to keep the tenant that's been in there for 7 years, and he's not really interested in maximizing the interest. He's just looking to hold on to it for a long-term period.
Well, that's the key. The key is, if I can make any recommendations, is to one, kind of remain the landlord, remain the owner, and be aware of the condition of the property and be in touch with your property manager so that you keep that rental going.
Right.
That free cash flow and that income stream is very important when it's used in combination with all the other retirement vehicles, or in my case, or other people's cases, they may not be retiring, but they're looking for that free cash flow. So in that respect, use that free cash flow to your advantage. Minimize your leverage capability in those properties. It's a real privilege to be able to pay those down and get those mortgages paid off, so that now all I do see, for the most part, are a small amount of expenses and income and a solid income stream.
Yeah, it's nice when you don't have to pay off the loan; somebody else pays it off for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Keep track of all your expenses. Follow your reports on a monthly basis that are generated by the TCT organization. Use those wisely to offset and minimize tax liability in your the taxes that you pay every year. And I think you're going to find that this can be a valuable income stream that you'll take advantage of for years.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate all the kind words. I'm glad that we've served you well, and we'll continue to do that. We're the whole purpose of these videos is to just let other people know about the philosophy of investment. And I like the fact that even though you've acquired wealth in the stock market and in other investment vehicles, you're looking and saying, this is important too. And I like the stability of that. And I like the fact that you're aware of the advantages of owning real estate with the tax write-offs and things like that that you can take advantage of. So Lee, thank you. I appreciate you taking your time to do this. It's an honor for me, and those girls don't hear anybody saying good, nice things about them. They only hear people call them when they're complaining.
Oh, I know. That's tough.
So I really appreciate what you had to say about them and to them. So thank you for that.